In the quiet moments before dawn, as the world lies still and the mind is unburdened by the demands of another day, there is an opportunity to reflect on the nature of our inner lives. It is in these moments that the wisdom of the Stoics whispers most clearly, a simple yet profound message: respond, don't react. This ancient principle, distilled over centuries by philosophers such as Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, offers a powerful path to inner peace. But what does it truly mean to respond rather than react? And how can embracing this difference lead us toward a more tranquil, purposeful existence? To understand the Stoic path, we must first grasp the distinction between reaction and response. Reaction is immediate, instinctive, and often emotional. It is the mind's reflex to external events, quick, unfiltered, and frequently fueled by fear, anger, or desire. In contrast, response is deliberate. It is the conscious choice to pause, reflect, and act with intention, guided by reason rather than impulse. The gap between reaction and response is the space where freedom lives, the freedom to choose how we meet the world regardless of its turbulence. Imagine a situation at work. A colleague criticizes your efforts in front of others. The reactive mind bristles, defensive words spring to the tongue, and emotions surge. In this moment, reaction feels justified. It is the mind's attempt to protect itself, to reclaim dignity, or assert control. Yet, what is the outcome? Often, it is escalation, harsh words, damaged relationships, lingering resentment. The Stoic, however, counsels a different approach. Instead of firing back, pause, breathe, let the initial wave of emotion pass, and then consider what is within your control. How does your response align with your values and your purpose? By choosing to respond thoughtfully, you reclaim your agency and preserve your inner peace. The Stoics taught that while we cannot control external events, we are always free to control our own minds. This is the essence of Stoic discipline, to focus on what lies within our power, our judgments, intentions, and actions, while accepting with equanimity what we cannot change. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This insight is both liberating and challenging, for it demands that we take full responsibility for our inner state. Blaming the world or other people for our distress only deepens our suffering. The true path to tranquility lies in mastering ourselves. But mastery does not mean suppression. The Stoic does not deny emotion or strive to become unfeeling. Instead, the Stoic seeks to understand the sources of emotion, to gently guide them with reason, and to act in accordance with virtue. When anger arises, the Stoic does not condemn himself for feeling it. Rather, he observes the anger, acknowledges its presence, and then asks, "Is this emotion useful? Does it serve my highest good, or does it lead me astray?" By examining our emotions with curiosity and compassion, we can learn from them without becoming their slaves. The practice of responding rather than reacting is not confined to moments of conflict or stress. It is a way of being, a constant cultivation of awareness and self-command. In every encounter, whether with a loved one, a stranger, or a challenging circumstance, we are presented with a choice. Will we allow ourselves to be swept along by the currents of habit and emotion? Or will we pause, reflect, and choose our course with wisdom? Consider the realm of personal relationships. How often do misunderstandings arise from careless words, spoken in haste or anger? How many regrets are born in the heat of the moment when we react without considering the consequences? The Stoic path invites us to slow down, to listen deeply, and to respond with kindness and clarity. This does not mean suppressing our needs or opinions, but rather expressing them with respect for ourselves and others. When we respond rather than react, we create space for understanding, healing, and genuine connection. In the face of adversity, the Stoic response is not to rail against fate, but to embrace it. The concept of amor fati, love of fate, teaches us to accept whatever happens with gratitude, seeing every event as an opportunity for growth. When misfortune strikes, the reactive mind falls into despair or bitterness. The Stoic, by contrast, asks, what can I learn from this? How can I use this challenge to strengthen my character and deepen my resilience? By responding to adversity with courage and acceptance, we transform suffering into wisdom. The path of response over reaction is also deeply relevant in the digital age, where information and opinions bombard us at every turn. Social media, in particular, thrives on reactivity. Outrage, fear, and excitement spread rapidly, often provoking us to respond in kind. The Stoic approach is to cultivate digital detachment, to pause before commenting, sharing, or responding. Ask yourself, does this action align with my values? Is it helpful, true, and necessary? By bringing mindful awareness to our online interactions, we can avoid being swept into the tides of collective emotion and remain anchored in clarity. Developing the habit of responding rather than reacting requires practice and patience. It begins with self-awareness, the ability to notice our thoughts and feelings as they arise, without immediately identifying with them. Mindfulness is a powerful ally on this journey. By paying attention to our inner landscape, we can learn to recognize the early signs of reactivity, the quickening heartbeat, the tightening jaw, the urge to speak or act impulsively. When we notice these signals, we can pause, breathe, and create a space for choice. In this space, we can call upon the wisdom of the Stoics. Ask yourself, what is truly within my control in this situation? What virtues, such as patience, courage, honesty, or compassion, can I embody right now? What would my highest self do? These questions guide us toward thoughtful response, rooted in our deepest values. Over time, as we practice responding rather than reacting, we may notice a shift in our inner experience. The world may remain noisy and unpredictable, but our relationship to it changes. We become less vulnerable to the whims of circumstance, less easily disturbed by the actions of others. Instead of being tossed about by every passing event, we find a steady center within ourselves, a sanctuary of peace and resilience. This does not mean that we become passive or disengaged. On the contrary, responding rather than reacting empowers us to act with greater effectiveness and integrity. In moments of injustice or harm, the Stoic does not simply accept what is wrong. Rather, he responds with courage and wisdom, seeking to make things right without being consumed by anger or hatred. The difference lies in the quality of action, not impulsive or vindictive, but measured and purposeful. The Stoic path is not a rejection of the world, but a way of engaging with it more skillfully. By mastering our responses, we become agents of positive change, not only in our own lives, but in the lives of those around us. Our calm presence can soothe conflict, inspire confidence, and foster trust. In a world that often rewards reactivity, the quiet strength of a measured response stands out as a beacon of hope and stability. It is important to remember that this path is a practice, not a destination. There will be moments when we falter, when the old patterns of reactivity reassert themselves. The Stoics remind us to greet these moments with humility and self-compassion. Every stumble is an opportunity to learn, to recommit to the path, and to grow stronger. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. There are practical tools that can support us in this journey. Journaling, for example, allows us to reflect on our experiences, to notice patterns of reactivity, and to set intentions for how we wish to respond in the future. Meditation trains the mind to observe thoughts and emotions without being carried away by them. Reading and contemplating the works of the Stoic philosophers can offer daily inspiration and guidance. One of the most powerful Stoic practices is the evening review. At the end of each day, take a few moments to reflect. When did I react impulsively today? What triggered me and why? How could I have responded differently in alignment with my values? By engaging in this honest self-inquiry, we cultivate greater self-understanding and prepare ourselves to choose more wisely tomorrow. Another helpful practice is the use of Stoic premeditation, premeditatio malorum. This involves imagining possible challenges or setbacks before they occur and rehearsing how we might respond with equanimity and virtue. By mentally preparing for difficulties, we reduce the shock of surprise and strengthen our capacity to respond with grace. Ultimately, the Stoic path to inner peace is a journey of self-mastery. It is the art of living in harmony with our true nature, guided by reason, virtue, and the acceptance of what we cannot control. To respond rather than react is to claim our birthright as rational beings, to rise above the chaos of instinct and impulse, and to act with wisdom and compassion. This path is open to all, regardless of circumstance or temperament. We may not be able to choose what happens to us, but we can always choose how we meet it. In every moment, we have the power to pause, to reflect, and to respond with intention. This is the source of true freedom and lasting tranquility. As you move through the world, remember the words of Epictetus. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Let this be your guiding star. When faced with difficulty or provocation, pause, breathe deeply, recall your highest values. Choose to respond with wisdom, courage, and kindness. In doing so, you will not only find peace within yourself, you will become a source of peace in the lives of others. Your calmness will ripple outward, touching those around you and transforming the world, moment by moment, choice by choice. This is the quiet revolution of the Stoic. To live each day with clarity, purpose, and a heart at rest, no matter what storms may come.